you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. Cause you are the one for me. Just believe. You just believe. You just believe. You just believe. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. Cause you are the one for me. Just believe, you 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 just believe, Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. Cause you are the one for me. Just believe. You just believe.
Back again, another fucking win, another big win. And just like we're over Washington, it's just the two of us tonight because you know what? Well, happy you. Murray's just had his birthday. We're gonna let him have the night off. Happy late birthday to Hugh Murray. But we've just beaten Fulham, right? By Jesus Christ, it's been how long has it been since May, Joe? What's May? The 5th month?
Yeah.
It's been in around 6 months since I've celebrated a match like that. That was fucking mayhem in the gaff now, right? I have a Liverpool brother who's in here watching it with me, right? When that ball hit the net after we thought he'd saved it, it ruined his weekend. And I'm happy out that it's ruined his weekend because my God, I've never had such, well, obviously I have, but in the last while, I've not had such relief watching a football match and seeing a ball hit the back of the net like that. Oh my God, I'm getting straight into it because we can't even sit around. Like, who have we even got here so far? We have D1 Midi as per usual. We've got his second account as the mod now. God, rest in peace, the old D1 Midi account. Mojeez is in, Darsh is in, Jay Millsy in again. All the fucking boys are in. Clinical Luke's here. Champions mentality, you're dead fucking right. Basically, you know the drill. We're pushing 5k. Like it, share it, comment. Anything you do helps around. The machine Erling Haaland. Big up my bros as always, Darrett and Joe. Top man D1 Midi. Joseph, how the fuck do you feel, my brother?
Relieved. Honestly, relieved. I'm a very now stress-free man. Obviously, I'm disappointed that Chelsea couldn't do anything. By the way, we'll probably touch on it a bit later on, but how bad are Chelsea? They are so bad. Anyway, moving on. Concentrating on ourselves for the foreseeable. I'm a relieved man. My blood pressure was through the roof. My heart rate was through the roof. I'm telling you, 70th minute, as soon as Haaland scores and he gets disallowed, I'm thinking, right, we probably won't get another big chance. Like, it's probably over. And it probably should have been over. But Fulham, terrorists. Mad fucking terrorists. They didn't set up to play football. I'm sorry. What was the tweet? So cruel.
So
He's fucking that.
Boys.
He's fucking that. Don't be proud for sitting back up against 10 men, you frauds. I'm sorry. How are they 7th or 8th or wherever the fuck they're? How are they in the top half?
You just saw how they like to set up in that kind of pragmatic way. But fucking, you know what? I didn't know they set up like that. They have a few good ball players. I was like, oh, grand, they must be like, they must play a little bit of football. Marco Silva's known for playing a bit of ball. Fuck me. They weren't like that against Liverpool. That's just the fear that people have struck into them now by that big Norwegian fella, because Jesus Christ, it was an eyesore, right? It took them to the last 10 minutes to actually say, you know what, we could probably go for it now. And even at that, it's a go for it in the sense of, did you see what they were playing the last 80 minutes? Against 10 men. 10 men, 4 centre-backs on the pitch, I'm pretty sure, at one point. Give it a fucking rest. Give it a rest, Fulham. You fucking weirdos. Weirdos. Like, actually, I'm only at the saying, you've given Grealish 7. That's wild, you know. Hello to the
Hey, listen, don't fucking blame me for the fact how he got hooked after an hour for... I won't go in too hard because we were down to 10 men at the end of the day. Like, I can't really... If someone has a bit of a subpar performance, I can't go in too hard because we were a man down and everyone had to up their level to, like, from 100% to 200%. Everyone had to step up to double the capacity. Essentially, we are now fucked for Chelsea, the players that played, because they had to run so much more than they needed to against Fulham. But at the end of the day, it's well worth it, because even though we all love the Carabao Cup here, we are big advocates for the Carabao Cup. Does it matter? No, I don't care. Chelsea are gash anyway, so it doesn't really concern me what team we put out. But like, the league is so much more important, because for that brief moment where we were top, when Arsenal going at half-time 0-0, I know they ended up getting that goal in the end, but it was from a set piece. You know, on a different day, if someone doesn't beat the first man, that's 0-0 and we stay top of the league. You know, it's the fine margins where you just have to put the pressure on. We've been in this situation a lot of times with Liverpool where, you know, they'll go top and it's like, we have to win. They put the pressure on us, but we can deal with that pressure. We don't know. We know that Arsenal can sort of deal with that pressure because they've done it so far, but we don't know whether they can sustain that constant threat of, well, they're playing Thursday, Sunday, so they'll always be playing a day later than us. So we will, more often than not, always be able to put the pressure on Arsenal to get a win, which, from our point of view, is great. I love it. I love being able to go on, Arsenal, you do your thing. You win the game. You go and do that. I guarantee you, right, for as good as Arsenal have been, if Arsenal were in that situation, they draw or lose. They do not win that game. Arsenal do not win that game. That's the difference. That is who they're up against. That is the difference between City and Arsenal, is if they go down to 10 men, damage limitation, they won't win the game. They don't have that situation. I almost like the fact how when we went down to 10 against Copenhagen, Pep brought on Diaz, didn't he? And he went to the 4 and we just played with one less attacker. He didn't do that against Fulham. Cancelo gets sent off, no substitutions. He kept it how it is. He went, let's, move a few players about and have a few players doing different roles, but keep it the same. Going forward, keep it the same. Have the same players in those forward positions. And it paid off because Fulham sat there, allowed us to essentially take that risk, and the risk paid off because we got a 95th minute penalty and we won the game. And to be honest, deservedly as well. Even though, again, all the odds were against us. Everything was against us. We deservedly won that game. Fulham shouldn't have got anything. They set up for a point against 10 men and they still should have lost. Like, that's how bad they were.
Yeah, you know what? I don't want to turn around and say they were bad. They defended really well, but just as a footballing standpoint, dreadful. You know what? We'll take it back. We'll go back. First goal, Julian Alvarez. By God, what a finish, right? The pass to break the lines of Gundogan, again, unbelievable. It's a great pass. Just threaded it through the midfield. Straight away, boom. It's a great finish. Don't know what Leno's doing on his knees before the ball's even kicked, but it's fine.
See all the Arsenal fans. You see all the Arsenal fans fuming about Leno because he fucked it twice. Should have saved the penalty and should have saved the first goal. Dreadful keeper. Anyway, carry on. You do your little. I heard you say Jesus. Play shots.
Do my little dance.
Play shots. Go on.
And okay, fine. I suppose I'll have to hate a little bit. It's an unbelievable finish. Jesus doesn't finish that last season, and I actually saw a tweet today. It's like, it goes, no, this is not my joke. This is another tweet, but it said, "Where would Jesus be if he could finish, or where would Arsenal be if Jesus could finish? Jesus would be a City if he could finish. To be honest with you, Jesus would be firmly still in Manchester if he was able to finish because he could do everything else bar." But it was really impressive. I thought it was a really impressive finish. And again, it seems like Alvarez, with his pressing, especially when down to 10, his pressing seems to be improving that little bit more. Again, he didn't come out with a yellow card. I like to talk about how he loves a bit of a press, but still gets booked. Doesn't happen. Didn't happen yesterday. I thought he was good, but there's just someone slightly better than him, I suppose. Because again, the goal that was ruled out, the second goal that was ruled out, was look, it's offside. You're not going to see us debating that. It's offside. It's marginally offside, but it's offside. And I don't think Alvarez scores it. I don't think Alvarez takes a penalty either if he's on the pitch. He definitely doesn't take a penalty if he's on the pitch. So I don't think they could have coexisted because it would have had to take out midfield. And that midfield, do we call it a trio or a quartet? Because are we counting Rodri as a midfielder at the minute, considering he's playing centre back? We'll call it a quartet. That quartet of Rodri, De Bruyne, Gundogan, and Bernardo was chef's kiss yesterday. They were fantastic, and they had to talk about and you have to talk about as well, they were playing with a man down, and they were still unbelievable because I thought De Bruyne stand out yesterday. Stand out. I don't know if we have him down as man of the match. I have him in my head as man of the match.
He is man of the match. In fact, you know what? I'm going to try and pause it when the next time the player ratings come about.
Yeah, no, but he was outrageous yesterday. He was out. There you go. He was outrageous yesterday. What a footballer. What an absolute footballer. Yeah, there you go, Joe.
I'm not getting slandered for our player ratings. This is fucking crazy.
Rodri and Gundogan were outstanding as well. But to touch on the negative, the one piece of negative, Cancelo. Fuck me. You said it in the Discord, I'm quoting you here. Trust your goalkeeper in that sense. I don't care if it's Danny Ward or no. You have to trust your goalkeeper there. You'd rather be a goal down than a man down. Because that
it wasn't even a goal down. Can we just say this? It wasn't even a goal down. It wasn't going
to be a goal down.
It was an equaliser as well. We were 1-0 up.
There you go.
Stupid.
It's just outrageous. I couldn't fucking believe because I'll be honest with you. I was out getting lunch, right? I was on the car back and I see Flash God do this thing where it's this big chance. Like the red dot. So I was like, oh, Grant, City about to go 2-0 up. It was John Stones just allowed goal. And just as we pull into the driveway, check. Hang on, because I didn't check if it went 2-0. I was like, oh, Grant, 2-0. Oh, red card for Cancelo and a penalty for Fulham at 1-0. I was like, all right, yeah. So came back upstairs, caught the red card, and I just sat here speechless. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe he done it. Now at the start, I thought it wasn't a red card, but there's no attempt to play the ball. Right? It's a denial of a clear goal scoring opportunity. I just hit the mic. I'm not used to being there. It's a denial of a clear goal scoring opportunity. It's a red card. There's nothing you can even do about it. It's only one match as well, so that's fine. But it's a red card. It is a red card, unfortunately. I kind of have to come clean and say it. Joe, you know what? I'll let you. Oh, nice. Pesticide in his future during the World Cup. Fucking nice one. Joe, you walk away, brother.
There's so much to unpack with the Cancelo red card. D1 merely saying, why is he not a 2? Because I like to be consistent, I get when Gomez did the same thing against Copenhagen, he got a 4 because it's not
what
like
a... Garcia that time?
Oh, he got a 2. What, against Brighton?
Yeah.
He got like a 1 or a 2 or maybe even a 0.
Cancelo got sent off that match.
Garcia didn't get sent off. Garcia didn't get sent off. He was just fucking shit and cost the game. Anyway, I gave Cancelo a 4 because I gave Sergio Gomez a 4 when he got sent off because for Gomez it was a learning thing. It's like he's not really a defender, but that's where he's going to play. Like he's just going to have to learn, and that will be a learning experience when Gomez got sent off. With Cancelo, I can see a point of being a bit lower because it's not a learning experience. He's like 27, 28. You should know by now that you don't just take someone out like that. You don't bundle someone over in the box, last man like that, with no attempt to get the ball. I said this as well, didn't I? I said this to you, that if he even sticks a toe out in the direction of the ball, it's probably a yellow card, because you can look at it and go, well, at least he made an attempt to try and get a touch on the ball. And it's a yellow card. Yeah. And you turn around and go, he made an attempt, but he didn't. He just barged him over. Like, it's a clear red card. It is stupid. I literally said, you trust your goalkeeper in that situation. Ederson... I mean, do we have to go back to last week? Leicester, the amount of saves he made, great saves that he made. Trust your goalkeeper.
He's been on really good form, and I don't think I hate him nearly as much as anyone else. I don't hate him nearly as much as anyone else, but I do. I got him biscuit wrists here and there. I have to give him credit. Like, he was nominated for Player of the Month. He has been outrageous the last month, and it's not like his handling's coming on leap and bounds. So the fact that Cancelo's done the Steven Gerrard, fuck that. When he's seeing the ball go anywhere near him, it's just fucking crazy. It's another lapse in judgment from a player who was prone for lapses in judgment.
Yeah, it's it's poor. And at the end of the day, Pep was fuming with him on the sideline. He gave him a good ringing. He basically said, listen, why are you doing that at 1-0 with an hour to go? If we concede, we concede. We've got 65 minutes to get another goal. Why are you doing that? Which is the exact same thing that we were all saying. Why? Trust your goalkeeper. If it goes in, it goes in. You've still got over an hour's worth of football to get a goal against Fulham at home. Like, come on, really. You got Haaland off the bench. Realistically, 11 men. You got Haaland and Foden, your 2 top goal scorers for the season, to come off the bench if you're in dire need of a goal. Seriously, like, just sometimes I just think he doesn't think. I think he doesn't think sometimes, and he's just rash. We've seen Walker do the same thing, or either Walker's more prone to switching off rather than doing something stupid. I mean, you saw last season 2-2 against Liverpool at home. We come out for the second half, he's asleep for the first 2 minutes, and it's 2-2. Like, Cancelo's like almost the same, where just a lapse in concentration, a lapse in judgment, and he does something rash. And it's not the first time he's done something like this. I've seen Dio Emili again saying that he's made a mistake at Anfield. I don't hold him at I do, but I don't hold him at fault for that mistake at Anfield, because realistically it was kind of half a slip, and like I can almost put that one past me, but getting yourself sent off, there is no one else to blame. You have got yourself sent off. You don't get sent off by accident. Most, like 99% of the time, a red card, it's a justified red card. And his was a justified red card. But what I want to now talk about is Tottenham Hotspur against Liverpool. Topspur against Liverpool. What happened at 1-0 Liverpool? Liverpool 1-0 up, Tottenham. Ryan Sessegnon in the box. What happens? Trent, shoulder in the back, pushes him over.
I think
carbon copy.
Save this for the weekend review.
I'm doing it now because it's relevant to the situation. Because we're gonna get onto one man in particular. That shove by Trent, no different to the one on Cancelo. Cancelo got a red card and we got a penalty given against us.
It's not a red. It's not a red. I don't think.
Let me finish. It's not a red because Trent isn't the last man, and it's not really it's not a goal scoring opportunity. He's too far out for it to be classified as him taking a shot on goal and realistically scoring. However, a foul is a foul. It is a penalty. It is a stonewall penalty. If you give the one against Cancelo, you give that one. They didn't give that one. Who's on VAR? Remind me his name.
Darren
England. Who was the referee on the pitch for us yesterday? Darren England, who, by the way, gave the penalty and the red card without the help of VAR. So it was his decision to do that on pitch, and then when he has all these fancy little replays, he was right. I'm not saying he was wrong. He was right. He was 100% right in what he did. However, he's got the fancy technology and all the replays in the world and all the camera angles in the world, and he sees that Trent one, which is pretty much identical, arguably worse, because at least with Cancelo, again, it's still a foul, but he is shoulder to shoulder. With Trent, it's an elbow, it's a shove, it's a clear shove in the back. How I don't know how, like, it's the whole thing of consistency again. We want consistency. You're never gonna get black and white, right or wrong answers in football. It's not gonna happen because it's all about opinion. However, what you can get is consistency, where the referees come to the same or similar judgment in certain situations as all the other referees. But we don't get that, and that's why everyone goes absolutely mad. Everyone starts blaming the technology. It's not really the technology's fault. It's the people operating it. They're just incompetent. The 1 week it's one thing. It's not even 1 week. One day it's one thing. One day it's another thing. One game it's one thing. Then you go to the next game. You can hit 2 free-cut kickoffs, 2 identical incidents. One will be given one way, one will be given the other way. Like, that's the situation we're in right now. And it's just annoying. Like, he got it right, so I'm not complaining on that one. But I am a little bit frustrated when I see Trent do that and get away with it. And it's like, how?
It is baffling now, to be honest with you. And what I find even fucking crazier is that who is the person, at the helm, mainly this season of VAR, and who has, for the last 10, 15 years, constantly had a spotlight shone on him as one of the more inconsistent bad referees. It's Mike Dean. Mike Dean is teaching people how to use this software, and he is fucking shambolic referee. So I have the officials there. But if that's the case, if you don't want this level of inconsistent refereeing, bring in someone from a foreign league, or bring in someone who's like, even get your man. What was your man's name? The fucker who was on Pez. Remember a fellow who was on Pez? That referee. Baldy.
haven't a clue.
Ah, fuck. He's one of the best referees of all time, right?
Oh, I know
You
the one.
think-
Crazy Eyes.
Yeah, him. Yeah. You think they'd have someone who's not been at the helm and not had a constant spotlight on them as being shit for years as the person teaching these referees, this new generation of referees. Well, you'd ever want to be a referee is beyond me. But who's teaching these people? It's Mike Dean. Like, I'm not putting it down to him. And now look who's the head of POMO, PGMOL? Referee
Yeah,
thing. Who's the head
PGMOL.
of that now? Who's their head of that now? Howard fucking Webb, a man renowned. In fact, like he's not the only one. A man renowned for siding with Fergie and United over the last 10, 20 years is Howard Webb. He is the man at the top of PGMOL now. That's disgusting. That is disgraceful. I've seen Mark Clattenburg openly admit that there was bias and favour towards Man United. It's obvious. Like, you've seen the amount of years we played them for. You've seen the amount of times Liverpool done out of something. Arsenal too, done out of it. For years. This man now, Howard Webb, is top of PGMOL. You can't beat this. You can't keep getting away with it. But they're getting away with this. The level of refereeing in England is shambolic, right? Shambolic. And it's a constant nearly everywhere. Everyone complains about English refs, everyone complains about European refs. It doesn't really factor into it. But the Irish refs, dreadful. It's just refereeing everywhere. Refereeing everywhere seems to be on a constant downward spiral because no one wants to do it, right?
You have to be a different level of shit, right? If you follow City Extra, City Report, they sometimes comment on referee, like the referee's awful, like, but they don't do it every game because every single game there's decisions you disagree with where they can be shit. You have to be.
There's a lot of times that we've got away with murder.
You have to be a different level of shit referee to see a tweet from one of the two like main City accounts on Twitter saying awful refereeing performance today, or so and so is the referee today. And we've had two of those back to back. We had it against Leicester where there was the tweet, and then we had it again against Fulham where this referee is shocking. Like, it's annoying. It's too annoying, but you have to put up with it because you can't. We could sit here online and criticize referees because what are they going to do? How are they going to punish us? Like, realistically, are they even going to listen to us? Do they even know who we are? No, they don't. They don't care. Where the problem is that in a post-match press conference with the managers, they can't criticize the referees. Referees are protected. They are a protected species. If a manager was to come out and say they are wrong, they did an awful job, they get a fine, they get a suspension, they get this and that, the referees don't have to explain why they made certain decisions, and they essentially are allowed to get away with it because, again, they are protected. If they lose those refs, no one else is going to come and do it because no one else is either good enough or wants to do it. So they're kind of stuck with who they've got. So, and I mean, what? It's a bit cringy, but it was last season. Arteta said in one of his post-match press conferences, "If I say what I want, I'd be suspended for 6 months." Like the managers cannot because it's mainly because the reporters will ask, "Do you think it's a penalty?" And they'll say no, and they'll be like, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, if I say what I wanted to say, I'd be fined and suspended. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to answer your question because I can't answer your question." Like, that's the thing. But there's been talk for years now about referees either being mic'd up or, you know, their conversations recorded and released post-game, or them having to do post-match interviews explaining how and why they came to those decisions.
Years ago, they did post-match, like, I think 2013, 2014 around that time. I've seen Mark Clattenburg being interviewed for Match Day. Like, they used to do it. There's actually, the Matt Hart says they should release transcript of what's going on with VAR decisions. The NBA have this thing called, is it the 2-minute report, Joe?
I don't know, I haven't.
Basically, it's for the last 2 minutes and big moments throughout a game where the referees need to make a report about it and talk about what's going on. If the and it's made public to see.
They also have the speaker as well. Whenever they go for a challenge or a review of a play in NBA, they have a courtside microphone where they announce the decision and basically why they've come to that decision. In basic terms, they don't go in depth, but in sort of 10, 15 seconds to go, we've come to this decision for this reason. And then they carry on. They kind of explain what their thought process is when they see the replay. We don't get none of that. We don't get no microphone access.
They can still be wrong. There's a lot of
we get clarity. We get clarity. You don't. You could get whoever's in the VAR room could be going, just give that. Just give that.
Yeah.
Just give that one. You know, make it interesting. Give it. Like we don't know
Because
what they're saying.
Realistically, what the VAR is there to do is tell people, I think you should have a look at this. We are a video assistant referee. We are an assistant, is what they meant to say. They meant to say, go over there and take a look at that, right? Just because he goes over to a pitch side monitor doesn't mean that has to get changed. It doesn't mean, but whenever they go over to the monitor, it's getting changed. There's no doubt about it. But like,
Because if it's not getting changed, they don't bother sending him over because they're doing his job for him.
Yeah, that's what it is. But it should always be at the referee's discretion. He is the referee. Again, I'm not trying to say there should have been a VAR check on that Cancelo thing. It's a red card. It's fucking idiotic. But this is just a general observation on refereeing in the Premier League. VAR stands for Video Assistant Referee. They are not the refs. They're not the refs. Everyone knows they are not the referee. The referee ultimately is the one on the pitch. Why is it that VAR look at everything? Why is it that goes, oh, you should go over and give that. You should go over, take a look at that. And if you feel that's a penalty, you give the penalty. There hasn't been one occasion where someone's gone to a monitor and not changed their own pitch.
99 times out of 100, if they go over to the monitor, they are changing their decision. That is what it seems. When you see someone go over to the monitor, you can essentially go, oh, we know they're going to change their mind, because this happens all the time. And what it should be is, again, assistant referee, video assistant referee. It should be assisting the referee into making the decisions. It shouldn't be giving them, the decision. It should be assisting him into making that decision, where they can go, you can have another look at this, because we think that, you might want another look at this to maybe change your mind, to see, get a bigger picture of what's going on. I think that, fine, I'm okay with VAR doing the offsides because it can save a lot of time with them just doing it for them. They don't need to go over to the monitor for that. But for everything else, penalties, why have an on-pitch referee if you're just going to check whether it's a penalty or not and tell him? Why bother having an on-pitch referee if you're going to tell him if it's a handball or a red card? What's the point? There's no point.
Like, one of the more egregious cases has actually gone in City's favour. Joe wasn't there now. It was me and Murray. Me and Murray went and watched our Southampton match 0-0 last year, right? Kyle Walker has got, I don't know who it was it's probably Armstrong or something like that. Kyle Walker, when I say went through him from the side in the penalty box, was given a penalty and Kyle Walker was sent off, right? They got him to change it. And to this day, I've seen it back. I don't know how that was ever changed. We said it in the stadium. It's a red card. It's a penalty. And he went over and checked. It was John Moss at the time. But obviously, it's someone that's there saying, oh, you might want to check that. What are they checking for? Like, that's just an example that always sticks with me. What are you checking for? That can't be, that's been reversed. Like, and people, Southampton fans have said it, the very minimal ones you see on Twitter will say, that's a red card, it's a penalty. I stand by that. Murray stands by it, I'm sure. And you saw it on telly, I'm sure you stand by it. That's an egregious case of the referee on the pitch is spot on and they've gone and changed it. It's crazy. It's absolutely current state of refereeing in England and probably everywhere else, to be honest with you, because you always see constant bad shouts refereeing. During the European games in midweek, Celtic got absolutely fleeced.
Millie's just come up with another good example. While it's similar to this Cancelo one of when Laporte got sent off last season against Palace, that was a red card. But
last man, weren't they?
But pretty sure it was the early kickoff. Leicester Arsenal. Johnny Evans did the same thing and got away with it.
The same week?
Yeah, same game week. Johnny Evans held down Aubameyang on the halfway line as he was the last man and got away with it, got a yellow card. Like, it's the consistency. We can sit here and genuinely, we are half an hour into the stream and we've talked more about referees than anything. But like, we can sit here all day and talk about referees. We really can, because there's so much wrong that we all know is wrong, and there are many reasons as to why it is wrong, and it will boil your blood, make your blood pressure rise. You'll get really angry, really heated. At the end of the day, there is absolutely nothing we can do. We can continue. The only thing we can do is speak about it, and hopefully there's someone somewhere in some weird universe will actually listen. That's the only thing we can do, because we can't directly change it. Like, we could create petitions, we could sign polls and do all this other shit. It doesn't make a difference. Managers can't even make a difference. They can't even speak out about it. So, like, what hope realistically do the fans have? Like, unless we all got together like the Super League. But that's not going to happen, because it's only refereeing and it's just dead inconsistent. Like, again, I think we should move on now, because I think there's so much like we want to talk about the positives because the game was great and we all feel great after the game, but you know, negatives first. Like,
this is
get the negatives out of the way. This is nothing to do with that game.
This is just an observation.
But you get the negatives out of the way first, and this is all derived from the Cancelo thing and then the Trent thing. I won't mind. We wouldn't be having this conversation if the penalty for Spurs was given or if Trent didn't, you know, push Sessegnon. That wouldn't. This conversation doesn't happen if that one incident goes a different way. This is the thing, consistency. But I think we should probably move on to more positives, more, you know, uplifting things, because we've sort of briefly touched on why the game was good, but you know, we've got the negatives out of the way. Cancelo's a bit of an idiot, but it's disappointing he's also suspended for Chelsea, because I'd rather him be suspended for Brentford, but it is what it is. But you know, he lives and he learns, hopefully, and we move on.
I want to touch on the two boys who ended up playing the fullbacks, John Stones, Nathan Ake, right? Two traditional centre backs, two centre backs who are very good with the ball at their feet, very good at bringing the ball out. And we learned, as if we didn't already know, how good they are going forward. Them boys were booming up the touchlines constantly. Unbelievable. I thought there was, again, I talk about John Stones every week. I won't go in depth. But Ake in particular, both of their ability at getting forward was unmatched. Like, you can see why Pep wants these style of players, because, I mean, again, Ake wasn't at his best. He's fucking centre-back playing as an attacking wing-back at the minute. Like, give him a rest, but by Jesus, like, I just thought, I thought the addition that they both had, despite being centre-backs, was outrageous. Outrageous yesterday. And you know what? I don't want to say that it didn't look like we missed Cancelo much, but there wasn't a sizable gap where I turned around and said, if Cancelo's there, it's different. Because he ended up winning. And we still had creative spark. If that fucking camera flickers again, we still had a creative spark with De Bruyne, with all the midfielders that are still on that pitch. But you have to, I think you kind of have to applaud them how good they were going forward yesterday, because, again, they're both centre-backs. It's crazy.
It's crazy, but we've seen it before. Like, we've seen both of them perform that role and then play in that position before. It's nothing new to them. They have experience in doing that, and we're going to talk about Chelsea obviously on the Tuesday when it gets closer, but I'd imagine that they'd probably be playing there anyway, because I don't think Sergio Gomez against Chelsea is particularly a good idea. Not really anyway. He's not the greatest.
There's a Rico Lewis shaped hole, you could say.
There's a Rico Lewis shaped hole, but we know Pep's going to ego manage him and he's not going to throw him in against Chelsea anyway.
Sure.
I mean, what can be said to the fact of we basically let Akanji on his own on the halfway line and said, yeah, okay, you play as a left back and Stones, you play as a right back. Let's just fucking hope they don't lump it. And they didn't. Again, they played horrible, horrible football, and it never cost us, which allowed us to take those risks. And again, we've seen those two play in isolation, where I don't think we've ever seen like a 4 centre-back partnership in a game. Apart from, I think we did it against Copenhagen, but that was more of a just defend, lads. I don't think we've ever seen just 4 centre-backs in a back 4, like, ever, when we've had 11 men on the pitch for, like, an extended period of time. So, be interesting to see if he does that against Chelsea, but they're capable. They are capable, and the main thing is they are defensively capable, because they are all central defenders, which gives us, you know, the comfort. We know Stones is a Rolls Royce of a... Not even a defender anymore, is it? It's just a Rolls Royce of a football player at this moment in time, because, I mean, we ended up essentially ditching the wingers till Foden came on, who kind of played a bit further out left. And obviously he had De Bruyne and Bernardo covering the right-hand side of the pitch, but they weren't really playing on the right-hand side. You basically had John Stones just going and marshalling an entire right-hand touchline to himself for about an hour of the game, which is a great watch at times, but it also frightens me, the fact that it's just one long ball and it's like, yeah, go on, can't you make you deal with it? But, like, it's so good. It's so good. It's the most defensively stable we're going to get, whilst also having enough, not attacking input, but controlling input to be able to build attacks from, you know, having those centre-halves playing in a full-back position. Which is why, again, this whole Walker replacement thing sort of flies about. Well, we don't need a Walker replacement. Like, John Stones is the Kyle Walker replacement. He's already taken his spot. Like, Kyle Walker comes back from injury, he doesn't get in this team. He doesn't get in this team. John Stones is a right back, better than him at this current moment in time. And it's nice to know that when Cancelo does Cancelo things, we're yet to see if he drops off past the new year like he has done in the past couple of seasons. And if he does, well, Ake can do that role. Sergio Gomez hasn't got an extended run in the team yet. We don't know if he's going to progressively get better. As you said, there's a Rico Lewis-shaped hole.
I'd rather him not get an extended run for now.
Listen, you're never going to know unless you try it, but I don't think we're going to see it either.
If you don't know type thing, though, you know what I mean? That's
you don't know, but at the end of the day, like, it didn't hurt us too much to go a man down, really. We just went to this sort of 3 whatever the fuck was in front of them because we just kind of let people vibe. Like, the amount of... I'm sorry, that Bernardo Silva running record against Liverpool a few years ago, that has been fucking... I tell you now, that's been smashed out the park yesterday because the amount of ground that him, De Bruyne and Rodri covered was unbelievable. They were all at centre-half positions or full-back positions during the game, and then they were on the right wing and in the box, and, like, they were everywhere. Like, you talk about N'Golo Kante running, they were everywhere. 70% was our midfield 3 or 4 because Gundogan was in there, but, you know, silent operator.
He was playing striker coming into the game. He was
like,
hanging off the striker.
Like, it's so good to know that we have the technical quality to essentially, when we go to 10 men, down to 10 men, evens the odds. Like, the technical quality we have evens the odds. Like, when you have, I think it was the introduction of Haaland, really, where it really hits home, the whole 10v11 just doesn't matter anymore. Because I loved Alvarez, and I loved the fact how even when we were down to 10 men, the passion, the desire, when we were down to 10 men, like, he was winning headers. He was going up against defenders who were like twice his height and winning headers and then winning second balls, winning corners. Like, he was still running. He was still running, making runs in behind. Like, the amount of effort he kept putting till he came off. That's why he gets a 9. Because even though, you know, he scored and then didn't really get a chance to do anything else, like, the amount of the desire he had to basically go, I know you're taller than me, but I'm going to win this header. And then I'm going to beat you to the second ball. I'm going to knock it on and run. And I'm going to win a corner. Like, that was exceptional. But when Haaland comes on, having Bernardo Silva, who covers as much ground as he does, and essentially will play in any hole, it's not position, it's not role, any hole in the pitch that he sees is uncovered, he will be there. And De Bruyne doing a similar thing, Rodri dropping into centre-half, and Haaland, who has that gravity to attract 2 or 3 players to him, it nullifies the 10v11. It nullifies it. Like, it makes it completely... Like, it's not a factor in the game anymore because you have those what's the word I'm thinking of? Intangibles. You have those things going for you where it changes the game. You have 3 players who, in their actions, in their gravity of pulling players out of position, which is why I thought Grealish might, you know, be a little bit better, and I expected him to be a little bit better because he has that same or similar gravity to where he will attract players, but he didn't really do that, which is a bit disappointing. But it's those sorts of players that when you go down to 10 men, you have to have on the pitch, because if they can, you know, slightly even out the one-man disadvantage, then that sets you up. That sets you up. Again, you talk about, was it a midfield 3 or a midfield 4? It was a midfield 4. We didn't have any wingers. No wingers, just vibes. They were everywhere. They covered everywhere. And it just makes me happy thinking about it again, because, like, there should have been no hope. Any team that, I mean, they have a decent manager, but any team that has, a good manager, any team that has a good manager goes for the game and wins it. Like, yeah. I'm sorry. If Marco Silva, if Marco Silva had anything about him, he goes for it. He tried to press us, but it was sort of half-assed and it didn't really work. That was about as good as it got. He never really got on it. They had 30% possession against 10 men for the entirety of the game. It's not like a whole, it was, you know, it evens it out 50-50. No, we still dominated the ball with a man less. Like, that's poor management from their side, and why I'm so happy to win, because, again, 10 men, but we deserved the 3 points. And again, Arsenal, I said this as soon as the game was over, Arsenal, over to you. This is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a team that can win with 10 men.
That's it. Like I put up afterwards the inevitables. That's what it feels like. It feels like now it's just inevitable that they're gonna come back. It got to when Foden let a ball run out of play. I think it was like the 93rd one. I was like, nah, probably not gonna get on out of this. And we still managed to get something out of it. Yeah, I mean, you have to be a different level of comfortable to tell Rodri to move out of his centre back position and just have a Kanji sit there, who was fucking outrageous. D1 Millie said I haven't touched on him. He was outrageous considering he's a one-man force at centre back. He was brilliant. But yeah, like Fulham just had City so comfortable in the sense of like, hang on, wait a minute, we don't need this extra defender. Oh, and also see your other two centre backs. Yeah, you're playing fullback. That's how little of a threat Fulham posed. And Luke fucking just mentioned Mitrovic. Was he injured? I don't know, but I tell you what, it's a different game if he plays. I think they'd be trying to do a lot more with him there. But they had that. They had the ingredients there to just go out. Like, it's not like they were a bad team for them. You're not 8th in the Premier League if you're a bad team. And they just didn't go for it. I think, to be honest, I don't want to say they played into City's hands, but maybe they did. City,
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. They did.
Really
if you allow us to be that comfortable to leave, if you allow us to be that comfortable where we will leave one man on the halfway line and one man only in Manuel Akanji, if you allow us to be that,
he counts as 3 men. He counts.
If you, I don't care who you are. You can be Van Dijk. If you allow that situation to happen where you're allowing a team to leave one man back, you are not going to win that game, regardless of how many men that other team has. If you're not making life uncomfortable, if you are not getting a hold of the ball and making that extra man count, if you are not pressing with every man, high intensity press, you know, full press, not none of this half-ass shit that they ended up doing, full press, if you end up doing that, you get a point at the very least. At the very least. They didn't do that. They sat there and essentially let us go, you know what, these lot aren't even going for the game here. These lot aren't even going for the win. They sat there with an hour with against 10 men and went, yeah, we'll take a point. Who does that?
That's loser mentality.
Does that? That's you're getting nowhere with that sort of mentality, and I think we sort of clocked it. I think when I think it hit home more when Foden came on. He had a note that he passed to Gundogan, and I think it was like, yeah, these lot are just sat there for the taking. Just leave one man and go.
Just one no. It was one that I said, what the fuck are these doing?
Like, I'm sorry, you cannot leave a team with our quality. That's sort of a situation where we are comfortable to leave one man in his own to defend on a counter-attack. Like, that's piss poor from Fulham. But again, I'm so happy because it worked for us and we spotted it. Pep spotted it. Pep spotted that they were there to just sit there essentially and that we had to commit, otherwise we were getting nowhere. If we didn't commit, we go out with a point. We might as well try and get 3 points. Worst case scenario, we get smashed on the counter and we lose 1 point. 1 point. You know, seasons gone by, that 1 point, you know, in them Liverpool title races, that 1 point can decide the title. Against this Arsenal team, doubt it. I doubt it. 1 point probably won't cost it against this Arsenal team. For how good they are at the moment, they haven't shown quite enough to be that Liverpool standard of where we get to the last 10 games and it's just win after win for both teams. Like, they haven't shown that yet.
Well, to be honest, they have shown it, but they haven't shown when it gets down to it. They've shown that they can win a few games. And look, I don't think anyone can take that away from Arsenal at the minute. They're a great team, but there's even the concession among fans that, well, among some fans, they're that vocal minority where they're like, Liverpool had to do this for 4 years. Liverpool had to do this for 4 years.
They got 4 years and got one Premier League title out of it.
One Premier League
like,
title.
I'm sorry.
Let's be honest, that Liverpool team, I don't mean to be disrespectful to Arsenal. I think they can come even better, but that Liverpool team was streets ahead of this Arsenal team.
Arsenal are like 2 or 3 injuries away from crisis because they're a midfield injury away from Sambi Lokonga.
So we're that Liverpool team, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but Arsenal are like a deep run in the Europa League or a couple of injuries away from having to play Sambi Lokonga in midfield or like an extended run in the team for Eddie Nketiah, who, despite the fact how Gabriel Jesus has missed a fuck ton of big chances still and missed another one against Chelsea, Eddie Nketiah is still 10 times worse a football player. And again, they have Rob Holding. Like, they're a centre-back injury away from, like, Rob Holding or, like, having to play Cedric or someone. Like, their squad ain't deep. Their squad ain't deep. They've shown they can do it now, but they haven't also had a load of injuries. I know Smith Rowe's out injured, and they've had their fair share of Zinchenko's been out, and Tierney's a walking medical case, but they haven't really had that big injury of Saka's out for a month, or Jesus is out for a couple of weeks, or Martinelli's out for 3 weeks. They haven't had that yet. They haven't had that.
Yeah,
and when they do,
that kind of player who will get you an injury, to be honest with you.
when they do get that injury, which they might not, I never wish injury on a player, contrary to popular belief maybe with my form, but don't you make that face at me. But the fact of the matter is, there is a high possibility, almost an inevitable possibility, that one of their key players will pick up a maybe not long-term injury, but a couple of weeks. We have it all the time, a couple of weeks out. But we have built this squad up where it's not deep, but it's so versatile and so good that it doesn't matter who you stick in, they'll do a job. Arsenal don't have that. Arsenal don't have their minerals. That's the only thing that... There's two things that I'm waiting for them to show me. They've shown me that they can bounce back after defeat. They've shown me that they can beat a big team. They've shown me that they can beat a big team away from home. They've shown me that they can, hack, for now, playing 3 games every week. They've shown me that they can, sort of work around a couple of injury headaches. The two things that they haven't shown me is a bad patch. We had a bad patch last season. We got over it. They haven't had a full bad patch where they've had a patch where they haven't played well, but they haven't had a patch where they've had, a couple of draws, maybe a loss, and the results aren't going their way. They haven't had a run of incredibly tough games. Neither have we. But we've gone in past years and had a run of tough games and come out on top. They haven't had a run of where they're playing 2 Big Six teams and then a tough team in the Europa League. They haven't had that. They haven't proven to me that they can go without one of their further up players, a midfield player, if he gets injured. Like Xhaka has been good for them if he drops out. If Saka's injury was more longer term, I think he didn't even miss a game when he came off against Nottingham Forest. If his injury was more long term, how would they have dealt with that? I know the World Cup would have basically nullified that, but how would they have dealt with that? They haven't proven that to me. And they haven't proven when it gets down to the last 10 to 15 games of the season, when everyone is absolutely knackered and no one has anything left in the tank, will they keep going? There's no proof. There is nothing that you can tell me or show me that this Arsenal team, which is similar to the Liverpool team in which they don't have much depth, they are a couple of inches away from crisis mode. You cannot tell me that this Arsenal team, you can't show me anything that will make me change my mind on this. They have nothing to suggest that come the last 10 games of the season when City are at their best, at their peak, win after win after win, when no one's got anything left in their legs, still going and getting wins, that Arsenal could do the same. There's nothing to suggest they can do that. That's the one thing that they haven't proven, but they cannot prove until it happens. There's nothing they can do until it gets to that stage. And by that point, we'll see whether they're still in the race or not.
Look, I think it'd be personally long wrapped up about it. And I agree with every word you said. Like they haven't proven that they have the minerals to keep up with a title ambitious team like ourselves. But we've been proven wrong hundreds of times in this channel. If it happens, it happens. But at the end of the day, I have full faith in City turning around and I'm beating them to the punch no matter what. We can take a little break from the match if you want, because there's actually a bit of news coming out here from Jack Dawn. There are those around the Man City first team who believe they are working for a manager who does not appear ready to wave goodbye, with whispers of a 2-year contract extension. City are playing ahead under the assumption that Pep Guardiola stays. I think this is some great news for football, some great news for us. I mean, let's be fair, there's no real danger in our minds, in my mind anyway, of him not extending. But it's just nice to read, especially as a top journal coming out and saying that it doesn't look like it's over, and realistically, it's probably not over. But I think it's another.
Look at his reaction, man. Look at his reaction when we scored the penalty, the water ball. He is not walking away. There's a man who is a man who is essentially walking away from a project that he has spent 6 years at.
7.
Is this his 7th season? I believe it might be his 7th season now.
Oh, hang on, hang on. You keep talking. I'll let you know.
Right, whichever one it is, does he look, especially yesterday, does he look like a man, that sort of passion, does he look like a man who is 6 or 7 years down the line from a project that he has built practically from the ground up? There is one player still here from when he took... Seven, right? There's one player that he has had since his entire stint, which is Kevin De Bruyne. The rest of it, he has built. He has bought and he has built. He has made those players into world-class players, into world beaters. Some of them have said goodbye. You know, new ones have come in. He has built this from the ground up. Again, one player that he has retained throughout his whole entire stay here is Kevin De Bruyne. The rest of it, all his players, all his signings, apart from Foden, who's a academy player, but he put the trust in him to make the step up and to stay here. And with the reaction the reactions that he has given us, again, case in point, Fulham, when we scored the penalty, does he look like a man who's willing to, 6 months down the line, go, this is it, this is my final goodbye? No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He cares far, far, far too much for this team. This is his team. This is fully his team. He cares too much at this point to go and walk away. And for how bad Klopp and Liverpool are at the moment, that rivalry's still there. Klopp still got the best of him this season. Klopp still beat him twice this season. That rivalry is still there. We said...
He fucking hates him, too.
All these, love bites and hugs and everything, they fucking hate each other. But...
Oh, yeah, they hate each other. I'm just to hate each other.
But... we said this before Liverpool turned to shit, and before, Pep still hasn't signed a contract extension, but before he's going to sign it, that he's not going to walk while Jurgen Klopp is still here. He's not going to leave when Jurgen Klopp's still here. When that rivalry is still... it's dwindled a bit because Liverpool aren't as good as they are, but they still beat us, so the rivalry is still there, regardless. So he is not going to just walk away from a rivalry that... it's one of the best rivalries you'll ever see. It is one of the... regardless of the fact that it's not a derby, let's get this clear, it is not a derby. There is no... we hate each other, but it's not a derby like City Liverpool. It's a competitive fix. It's a rivalry, it's not a derby. But it is one of the greatest footballing rivalries you will have ever seen in your lifetime. Hands down, one of the greatest, if not the greatest. The level of football, game in, game out, the levels in which each team pushed each other to the point of Liverpool sacrificed everything they had in that 3-year stint challenging for a title to get one title and then fill apart the next season. Like, that is how desperate they were for a title, where they were basically risking their next season by being flat out to get it. That's how far we pushed them. Like, it's unreal. It's never happened. Like, you go back to the Fergie days winning titles on 70 points. 70 points might not even get you top 4.
Yeah. That's just the level of football that City and Liverpool both raise it to. Every time City have won the league, Liverpool try going one better the next year, and they tend to have gone one better the next year, but City always take that step up. I'll give you a hot take. I don't think Guardiola's leaving to win a Champions League, but I do think that's happened the next 2 years. I don't think he want to walk away. He walked away from Bayern without a Champions League. He left Barca with 2, I think, from his own making.
He'll do a decade. I've had this stance. He'll do a decade. I don't know whether
it's only 6. I recounted. It's only 6. I thought he was here from 15, 16. It was 16, 17. So it's 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21, 21, 22, which last.
This is his 7th season.
7. It is 7.
You're an idiot. Come on. This is season number 7. Even if it is a 2-year extension, I feel like there'll be another 1 year. I feel he does 10. That's my gut feeling. That he does 10.
There'll be news. Let's say next, providing he stays on, he will stay on. There'll be news next season that there's a
option for an extra year.
Yeah, there's
2 years with an option for 1 year. I think he does 10 years, and I think regardless of Champions League success or not, he just leaves after that, because I think 10 years nowadays, modern football, managers do not do that long. We're not going in these Wenger Fergie years where managers are doing 20 years. That doesn't happen. Managers, they do things, they move on. That's how it is, or they get sacked. Now, most managers don't make it a season. There's a lot of managers that don't do
Yeah.
a season or more than 2 seasons. Like, you rarely get a case in which a manager stays for 5, let alone 10.
Pep
Like-
will never be sacked from.
Well,
any
he'll
club.
never, ever, ever, ever be relieved of his duties. Ever. No matter how bad it gets. He's a man. I've said this about Klopp. If Klopp, like, if they don't finish top 4, get Champions League football, if I was Klopp, I'd walk because it's unacceptable. I think Pep is like that. I think if Pep doesn't get top 4, the levels dip, he'd just walk. He'd go, you know what? I've taken this team to high highs. The levels dipped. I think they need a refresh. I'm going to help with that, and I'm going to let someone else take my job. And he'd let that be known. He'd be like, listen, if this team, if we don't get in the Champions League football, you know, you're going to need a bit of a rebuild. I'll let someone else take that. You know, I think he's a man that would do that, but I don't think he doesn't get to that stage. It's hypothetical. It doesn't
It
happen.
won't get to that stage here.
I know there's the whole, was the thing on Twitter, wasn't it? The trenches talk. The trenches being glorious. It's not. Can we? Yes, it was horrible to watch because we had no centre halves, but I mean that back four is not.
We still won that game.
It's
That
yeah, we did.
screenshot
We-
taken by Palace away
we-
in 1920, and we still won 2-0.
we.
Because I remember that day because I got a notification saying we had no centre backs. So I did City and Palace, with City to win and both to score, and then I did Aston Villa to win and both to score.
So you're the
Matt
reason why
Target-
we won and kept a
Matt
clean sheet.
Target- Matt
Yeah,
Target got a last
so
minute winner.
you're the reason why we won and kept a clean sheet in that game. Thanks very much. It's
So, but-
it's not trenches. We look back on that screenshot, right? You had one of the best defensive midfielders in the world at the time. Oh, you know, on the downward slide, obviously Fernandinho. You have the current best number 6 in the world sat beside him, who is capable of defending. You have, who was a right back, Cancelo, who many regard as one of the best fullbacks in the world, and then you had number 22, who we'll not speak about in depth. But it's not fucking trenches territory. I mean, listen, go back and look at some of the Wenger teams, some of the Liverpool teams in the early Klopp days, or just pre-Klopp. Go and look at them; they are fucking hilarious. That was not trenches; it was dismal because none of them were actually any good at, like, they were either not in their natural position or not any use at defending whatsoever. But it's not trenches. You need to just be serious on that one.
Yeah, it was we won that game 2-0. Edison pulled off a really, really good save. I remember watching the game. I was in my brother's house watching the game, and it was I was sat there waiting for the goal to go in. I think it was Benteke what he saved it off. I was like, I should have got 200 quid there. But oh my god, like that was like how people are calling that trenches beyond me. I know we were a bit, look, at the time it was like I'd rather put a bullet in my mouth than watch this, but we came through it, and
We won a trophy that season.
Yeah, we got a cabbage that season, and Phil Foden getting man of the match was the best feeling of that season. But then we ended up.
You can't. No, I'm sorry. It genuinely. It actually makes me a bit annoyed that how
It's just
entitled.
spoiled.
No,
It's
like
spoiled.
how spoiled and entitled you have to be to call that trenches. We won a fucking trophy and finished second. Are you joking?
Second to a very good team. Second to everything fell into place for that team.
It was second to a team who was on City's level of previous seasons. Like, it's not fucking trenches. You just spoiled. It's painful, but it's not fucking war. It's not trenches. It's not war. It's not war. You have not lived war. That is not anywhere deep enough. Like, we won a trophy, finished second to a team that almost went invincible and got 100 points. And, you know, the Champions League was embarrassing, but I think we all kind of saw that one coming. But at the end of the day, it's not it wasn't a complete disaster. Norwich was painful. Like, you go back to certain games, they were dire. It's not. It's been worse. It has been worse. Like,
It's
been miles worse.
Just to be clear, there was 2 years before the takeover, fucking Thaksin Shinawatra was the owner of Man City and was getting done for money. I think it was money laundering by the government. So it could be a lot worse, I suppose, while he was still the owner. The ones asking about why is Foden being left out recently. You know what? I think I make the joke all the time about I make a joke all the time about how just because he didn't beat Milner on a one-on-one, he's been dropped for a few days. But that genuinely might be it at this point, because I don't see any, unless he's injured, I don't see any rational standpoint of him being left out on the weekend, because it missed him. You know, I didn't think he was too impressive when he came on. I didn't think he was poor by any means. But
There's a couple of things, though, isn't there? There's a couple of. Well, there's one main rumor, which is the whole. He's basically said he wants to make this World Cup, that if he's fit, he's going to make the squad and probably start. So he wants to make sure that he is 100% fit. Which Pep's like, all right, then I'll just stick you on the bench then. Then fucking have it your way. I mean, it's definitely not the reason, and it's definitely not serious.
Haaland doesn't seem to be like that, though.
It's definitely not real. I saw quite obviously the fucking Ronaldo fanboys and United fanboys, but it was like a quote from Foden saying, Ronaldo can do all the things Messi can, but Messi can't do half the things that Ronaldo can. And I saw that and I went, I bet you that's the reason he's been fucking dropped, and it. He said that, and Pep's seen that and gone, right, bench, fuck off. Like he's that pet. I don't know if it's a real quote, but I saw it like multiple times. If honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if Pep was that petty and gone, you've said that about Messi, bench now. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. He is that sort of manager that go, right, this is your punishment. You're not playing again until after that World Cup, until you apologise, till you write 100 lines saying Messi's better than Ronaldo. Yeah, he's one of them. But I'm not too bothered that he's on the bench, as long as Riyad Mahrez isn't taking his place. I'm okay with it, to be honest. Like, there's far worse things than Foden sat on the bench. Like, there's far worse punishments sat there waiting to happen. One of which is number 26 on a Wednesday against Chelsea. No. Although I believe that it probably will happen, but no. Listen, at the end of the day, it doesn't bother me that he's on the bench, because we're still winning. We are still winning games. It doesn't matter. If we're winning, so be it. If, again, you drop Bernardo, goes onto the right, Gundogan comes in the team. It was great yesterday. No complaints.
Yeah, 100%. I wholeheartedly agree with your situation, Bill, because again, like that extra midfielder yesterday ended up being the difference for us, in my opinion. But yeah, man, it was just, it makes
you're
so much
high
sense
on
with
life
that.
after watching that, because
Yeah, like I find it hard going back and talking about that match, because everything I said to Joe, everything after the disallowed goal is one big blur that has packed in 20 minutes, and it was the quickest 20 minutes of my life. I didn't even recognise it, to be honest with you. Yeah, no, do not get Kane and Haaland done. That ship has sailed. The Kane ship has sailed years ago.
thanks, Charlie Kane. We appreciate your services.
I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We'll just go into the midweek review.
Do you wanna just talk about the big games? Do we want to start off with the?
I tell you what, we'll laugh at something first. You know what I'm.
You want to laugh at the
We'll
neighbours?
laugh at the red cunts first.
Laugh at the neighbours first. A Jacob
Right,
Ramsey
so-
masterclass plus an own goal. Yes, please.
Yeah, just so we're clear, I was on the Jacob Ramsey train for a year before.
There is stream highlights. If you're asked to go far back enough, the stream highlights. It was the first game that we did after the Super League. We did a watch along for it. Back in the days of watch alongs, both teams went down to 10 men. It was a wild game, but
both teams. Oh, Matty Cash got sent off.
Matty Cash got sent off because his trim was shit.
Fucking prick.
No, I won't even talk about what happened in that game. But if you're wondering, we won 2-1. Both teams got a man sent off. We were away at Villa Park, first game back after the whole Super League thing collapsed. And you went on being, you saw Jacob Ramsey starting in midfield for Aston Villa. You went, I've seen compilations. I like this guy. And then he gets fucking cropped by John Stones, and John Stones gets sent off. You're like, no, my boy. You were on this train for ages. It was a dead, deserving sending off. However, we will move on. You did say you've been watching your compilations and you like this Jacob Ramsey fella, and now he's like probably Villa's best player at the moment. It's not hard though. It's not hard. Their best player before that was probably like John McGinn. It's not hard.
That's fair enough. We'll leave Chelsea and Arsenal to last because I actually have a couple of interesting pointers because I suffered my way through that match. Obviously, we spoke about it. There was nothing on yesterday to really go mad, but your man Somerville got another last minute winner. Fair play.
So just leave the other. I say the other two. It's very
Spurs and
disrespectful.
Liverpool. There's not much else you can talk
You
about.
talk
other than
about
Liverpool
the
really being
rivals.
like-
You can now classify Newcastle as a rival. They are third in the Premier League, which
and
is
they haven't spent that
mental.
much.
They
haven't even spent that much.
They have actually. Alexander Isaac, club record signing. He was like 70 million on his own. Thing is with Newcastle, right, is they have all this money, but legally they're not allowed to spend it. So all these people saying they're going to go mad in January, they can't. They're not allowed to spend. They have it. They'll get a player. They won't go mad because they're not allowed. It's against the rules. They know. I think we kind of all expected them to finish in a European spot. I don't think any of us expected it to be the top four now, mind, but we all expected them to get some sort of European football this season. Did you not?
I thought they'd. I thought this was their weird. I suppose we got on the Mark Hills, but I thought this is going to be a weird little transition before they get a world beater manager. But Eddie Howe has them playing. You know, I raise I do raise my hands up and say that I'm sorry because I wasn't. Neither of us are really too much involved in that Premier League predictions video that went up. So I didn't have Newcastle.
I've still got the Premier League predictions. We ended up settling on Newcastle in 8th, which we did do a group agreement.
Is that European football? Is that European football?
I believe that it is not possible. I believe 7th is the lowest, which is Conference League, and that is I think that's if Carabao Cup winners are already in Europe, which is most seasons anyway. So. We did come to a decision between the four of us, at least anyway, being they're probably going to have this one season where they miss out, but they're going to get it. They are going to get some form. I'm still in doubt as to whether that form will be Champions League. I still have my doubts of whether they can keep in the top 4. I don't think they will, but I will say they're good for Europa League. There's no reason they can't go and get Europa League. Forget the Conference League. They could go straight into the Europa League. No problem. They're good enough.
I'll tell you why I fancy them now for Europa League. We have seen a level of consistency with Newcastle this year that you're not seeing from Tottenham. You're not seeing from Chelsea. You're not seeing from Liverpool. You're not seeing from United as well. This is a consistent Newcastle team. They've got great players to start with, but the bench, you look at the bench and it's nothing too standout. Those players are dogs on that bench. Those players on that bench are dogs. They will give you whatever they need to. And right now it's working. There's a winning mentality bred into that club. It's not often someone goes to look. I know they're sacking the manager, but it's not often someone goes to St Mary's and puts 4 past someone. It's very rare. We struggled last season. We scored 1 last season. We scored a few in the FA Cup, but that's because they ended up turning off after the second goal. Newcastle they're nailed on for Europe minimum.
But, I also do want to nip in the bud. People think it's top of the league, saying they haven't spent over the last 2 seasons. They've spent 260 million with a return of 2.3 million. So can we just not? Okay, they have spent money. They have spent a significant amount of money.
I think they're still overperforming, though. To be honest with you,
they have spent a significant amount of money over the last 2 seasons, which is since the takeover, with pretty much fuck all coming in. They got 2.3 million in a loan fee for Dubravka. That was it. They have spent the likes of, they spent 30 on Chris Wood's release clause to get Burnley relegated. They spent 30 on Joe Willock, 15 on Dan, but 15 on Kieran Trippier, 10 to 15 on Kieran Trippier. Great business, absolutely fantastic business.
They've got a new layer for that 200 million they spent, and that 200 million is spending unbelievable. Isaac looked great before he got injured. Bruno Gomes is one of the best midfielders in the world.
40 million. 40 million they spent on him. 40 million in January. They go in and get him. Sven Botman, I don't even know if he's played that much. I haven't seen much of him. I don't think he's played that much. John Costa Pope was 10 million, exactly. Pope, albeit, I know he's a goalkeeper and they sort of have longer careers. He is, in his late 20s. I think he's 29 maybe, something like that. Great buy again. Isaac. The thing about Isaac, club record signing 70 million, I think it was 70 million euros, about 65 million pounds.
Something like that.
The club record signing anyway. He's been injured. Regardless of if they could spend fuck all in January, right? Isaac comes back from his injury, new signing. He's like a new signing because he hasn't played that much. Callum Wilson is bagging the goals anyway. So,
I tell you who else. I have to give praise to Eddie Howe for. Joe Linton. He has taken Joe Linton, who, let's be honest, one of the worst strikers I've ever seen. One of the worst
40
strikers
million.
I have ever watched. They spent 40 million on him, right? Eddie Howe saw his work rate, I want to say technical ability. He's good on the ball. He turned around and said, "You know what? You'd be a great midfielder." And he missed out today for an accumulation of yellow cards. But when he sits in that midfield, he's magic. Like it's not even his great technical ability. He just has that drive in him, and his work rate's unmatched. I think personally, he's great.
I want to
really
go
do
back.
like him.
I want to go back and remind everyone and just think about the greatness of this. And everyone at the time, slight overreactions maybe. That 3-3 draw at St James's Park looks so much better than it did at the time. Coming from 3-1 down to draw 3-3 against a team that now sits third in the Premier League table off a 4-1 against Southampton. They almost nicked something off of Liverpool. They beat Spurs. And we got a 3-3 draw from 3-1 down early on in the season. Like, that point looks great. That point looks fantastic.
That is a great point. That is a great point. Not you, but that point that we got from Newcastle was great. And we came back from a lot of adversity in that game as well. Newcastle, like, they were well worth the win that day. They were very, very good. Their high press, their counter attack as well. Like, you think about the goals they scored, they completely cut us in half. I think we can leave that there because there's not much to be said. But
they're just good. They're just a team that
they're really good. They're not going to win the league.
They're not going to win the league. They're not that level. They are squad depth. They are 2-3 transfer windows worth of squad depth, good squad depth away from Champions League football. Consistent Champions League football. They are genuinely a couple of transfer windows where they go in and they strengthen the depth in the squad. And maybe by future projects, Kieran Trippier is in his 30s. Like, they're going to have to replace him at some point. They go and buy squad depth for players that can come and, replace the old men. They are, like, again, 2 transfer windows away from consistent Champions League football. There's no reason. Mm-hmm. There's no reason why they can't be. And two transfer windows, that is a season. Like, by the end of next season, I expect them to be in and around the top 4, if not already in it. Like, that is my expectations for Newcastle. Like, they are going to be scary. It will take them years to catch up to where we are because you can spend a lot of money, but we've seen with the likes of United, no matter how much money you spend, you need to spend it right. They have spent it right so far, but when it comes to them essentially attracting the big names, Champions League football type of names, they're going to have to spend it right. They're going to have to spend it right. And there's a finite amount of world-class players that essentially they can have access to because a lot of those world-class elite of the elite, they're already at big clubs. So they're kind of late to the party on this one, but they're going to be a problem. And they already have the fan base and they have a big stadium as well. So they already have the foundations
great culture.
They already have the foundations to make St James's Park a fortress. Essentially be really, 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 really good at home. I do still have questions about Eddie Howe in terms of winning trophies. He's done very well so far at Newcastle. He did very well with Bournemouth. But that's the one area where I go, he hasn't competed in the big competitions and he hasn't won a big trophy. And that's the only thing that I can really say for now. Apart from their depth, their manager doesn't have the pedigree at this moment in time. But he's still a very good manager.
One thing I always doubted with Eddie Howe on his time at Bournemouth was his transfers. But right now it seems like they're just getting a spot on.
Well, listen.
I saw some links to here's one for you. I saw some links to Michael Edward. If they get him on Michael Edward from Liverpool, now the fella who left Liverpool is Sporting Director, it could be fucking game over.
Yeah, well, that was the problem, wasn't it? Because they've signed absolute gems, haven't they? Isaac, they signed Trippier for like 15 million. They signed Bruno Gomes for 40 million. Eddie Howe was spending 40 million on Solanke and Jordan Ibe and those types of players from Liverpool when he was at Bournemouth. Like, the recruitment has gone up. I don't know whether it's the people surrounding him or whether the owners are like turning down 90% of his requests and going, don't be stupid. I can just imagine him sat there in the boardroom going, yeah, can you go and spend 70 million on Calvert-Lewin? And the board just telling me immediately, get the fuck out.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. We've got you, Callum Wilson, and he's quality. Moving. I tell you what, I think we can move it on because they're top four rivals. City are going to get top four. Let's be fair, top four rivals, but they're a great team, and like you said, they're like 2 transfer windows away from being unbelievable, in my opinion. Liverpool Spurs, I won't lie to you, I caught the first half, second half was on my way down to UCD for the Rovers match, but I saw a bit in the car, I saw the goal. Alisson had a few clangers in him today.
Who
again,
didn't
it's
have
not,
clangers? I watched the whole. Right, I watched the whole game.
I got caught out 3 or 4 times.
I watched the whole game, right, and fuck me, there was a lot going on. I mean, Eric Dyer, great assist for Salah for his second goal. What a header! What a header! What a through ball! I mean, get him on the plane to Qatar, please. Fucking, for the love of all that's holy, don't. That's not great. We just like.
Oh, he's
I
gone.
want to. I know he's got. I know he's out. I want to speak on the Tottenham's formation. A big fan of them playing a what was it, a 5-4, 5-4-1, really, wasn't it?
A 9-1.
A 9-1, yeah. Let's just call it a 9-1. Playing Perisic up front with Kane, who's playing as a left wing back in defence. I mean, Kane's playing on the edge of his penalty area as well. What's the game plan? Like, I listen. I know he was kind of hands tied behind his back because Son's injured, and I mean, Kulusevski's probably not got 90 minutes in him, and Lucas Moura is Lucas Moura, but come on now. It was a dreadful game. It was actually, I'd say, more entertaining than the Chelsea Arsenal game, purely because both teams were kind of in it at stages. It was more of a contest, really. Chelsea were just bad. We'll get onto that one because that's the big talking point. But Alisson, clangers, Konate was very good in the air, but his passing was a bit dodgy at times. I must say, a couple of times he played it straight back to Spurs. Luckily enough for him, Spurs are gack and can't pass themselves. So it was all right in the end. Perisic missed about 3 or 4 sitters where he either hit the post, the bar, or just completely missed. Yeah, so Spurs could have probably felt hard done by, realistically, because apart from the 2 goals they scored, Liverpool didn't really do much else. Maybe a couple of ones, but I mean, they fell to Darwin Núñez, so what do you expect? But there was a few Spurs ones where, again, Perisic hit the post, he's hit the bar. There's that one in the 90th minute where there's 2 people going, like, diving in, trying to get a toe or a head on the ball just to try and poke it home. They both missed the ball completely. The penalty that we've already spoken about that they didn't get at 1-0, that changes the complexion of the game. We've spoken enough about Trent and his defender, but my word, he was getting he's getting turned inside and out by Ryan Sessegnon. He's getting torn apart by Ryan Sessegnon and Perisic down that left-hand side. Like, he's so bad at defending, and it's just funny to watch. It really is. I enjoy it because I know I don't really have. There's no chance I'm putting up with it for England because Gareth Southgate doesn't ever pick him, doesn't ever dare pick him. But defensively, he doesn't learn. People have pointed out his weaknesses, and you've got people like Gary Neville who is probably overrated, but still had a great career and knew what he was doing as a football player. Like, he wasn't incompetent, who was gone live on Sky and tried to give him tips, and he still hasn't learned. He still does the same shit week in, week out that people go, what are you doing? And Fabinho as well. I sent in a tweet, actually, and it was, Fabinho is the most stiff Brazilian ever. I'm revoking his Eno, and he's now just called Fabian. Like, he's not Brazilian. There's been calls from Liverpool fans to sell Fabinho. Like, and I said when Klopp made his substitutions, he brought on Henderson and Curtis Jones. I was like, if they drop points, if they don't win this game, there is going to be hell to pay. Like, there are going to be heads rolling. Doesn't matter if nothing to do with Henderson. Doesn't matter. He will still get the stick for Liverpool not winning. Like, that's the stage that it's got. But it's funny to watch. That was their first away win in the league this season, which is shocking because they played Forest away. But we all know what happened there. But listen, I can speak for a long time on the ins and outs of Liverpool Football Club. I will never ever shy away from appreciating the downfall of Tottenham Hotspur and whenever they lose, because I hate them as well. Just because they always beat us. Nothing to do with how they are as a football club, because they win jack shit every season. And then they get close and they think they're going to do it, and then they fall apart. So I'll never ever shy away from a Spurs slander. But Liverpool got the win. They only just held on. They given the game, It's pretty even. I wouldn't have been surprised at all if it was even, to be honest, if it was a draw, because it was very close. And I was watching the Big Six on Friday, and I think it was Grizz and Toby were both in agreement saying that it was gonna be close and it might be a draw, and first goal was key, and first goal really was key, because the first goal, Spurs have to come out of their 9-1 formation to actually try and get into the opposition half. And then Eric Dyer passes it to Salah. They'd have fine margins, one mistake from Eric Dyer and one refereeing call, and they've gone and lost 2-1 instead of 1-2-1.
Yeah, Tottenham are very fucking strange, but I think it's safe to say they won't be winning the league anytime soon. You've hit the nail on the head. I can't say more about that. You watched more of it than I did, but a match that I watched all of that I regret heavily because I could have done a lot more in that time. I suppose I could have gone on a walk. I could have walked the dog,
Could have had an extra, maybe not you, but could have had an extra couple hours in bed.
12. I watched it in bed.
I also watched it in bed, but I mean, early kickoff on a Sunday. It's not even early kickoff. It's not even 12:30. It's 12 on the dot. Are you taking the piss? What is? I'm not having it. Not anymore.
The goal. I thought it went straight through, but it didn't. Mark Cucurella. What on God's earth is he doing? He's giving out free hugs to Granit Xhaka. That definitely fucked it. He didn't even move for the ball when I went across.
There's another man we have to thank, don't we? Tiki.
Oh, yeah.
Tiki, thanks be to God that you didn't bend over and pay 60 million for Cucurella. Jesus Christ.
Nearly 70 million.
Oh my good God.
Tiki.
Go
on.
Tiki, man. Put some respect on his name. I've slandered him in the past because he really did my nut in when over the last couple of seasons, but he's getting it spot on. Manuel Akanji, 15 million. Didn't spend almost 70 million on Cucurella. He's got it fucking bang on there.
Yeah, that Chelsea are so bad. Chelsea are really, really bad. I was actually there when I was mentioned I was out for lunch yesterday. My mate's a Chelsea fan. He was saying he's really not sold on Potter. He says that he can't decide on the formation. And evidently he can't because they set up on paper at least. Yeah, they set up on paper with Ruben Loftus-Cheek sitting as a deep line midfielder beside Jorginho. That's not how he played. He was a right wing back. They're playing a 5. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is being fiddled with. God love him. But Mason Mount, shy.
Minerals.
Yeah, Mason Mount, I saw a stat. He has played 44 games against the Big Six in his career. He has got 2 goals. Kai Havertz is shit. Kai Havertz lives off one moment, and it will be a moment that is replayed in my nightmares for the rest of my life. Aubameyang turns out really was nothing personal. He doesn't care. Quality. You could have put your house in him getting a yellow card. Chalobah is actually really good, in my opinion. Thiago Silva. They have the makings of a great squad. They just, something about them. I don't know, something about them. Raheem Sterling, it gets more evident every single week by Pep was all right with letting them go. And it's same time for Jesus, but Jesus is in a winning system, as you can see today. Sterling is gash, and I'm delighted for him. Prick. Ben White is someone who's really impressing me lately. He's playing that, I don't want to say John Stones role, but he's playing in essence the John Stones role, just not
No, it is the John Stones role.
It is the John Stones role. Zinchenko today was brilliant at dropping in with Party. I'm just really enticed by Arsenal's tactical setup and how similar it is to City. But Ben White is very, very good. Ben White's a very, very good player. And now it's looking like, now I think he wasn't bought for this role, but in the same essence as John Stones, he's a centre-back playing right-back who's sitting in as a centre-back but getting up as a right-back. It's brilliant. Arsenal really do have really good makings of a team. But I just look at it every week. I just think you just don't have that.
Pep's. It's funny. I can't get it out of my head. I can't believe it. Pep's disciple playing football the Pep Guardiola way. No way.
Joe, can you do me a favour? Can you pull up the City bench? And you pull up the City bench. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna name a player on Arsenal's bench. You're gonna read it back. You're gonna read back the City.
This is where the depth comes in, right? Do you want the bench?
Yeah, this is where the depth comes in. All right.
Do you want the bench for the game against Fulham?
Yeah, you read the name first, and I'll read my first name.
Let me get the bench. Hold on.
Again, lads, this is the reason that Man City win this Premier League. All right.
Oh, that's Brentford. That's next week. Where is? Yeah, look out for the game with the red card. Anyway, lineups. Where is the bench? Bench. Right, here we go.
Okay, you read your name first.
Ruben Diaz.
Cedric.
Can we fucking start there? I don't know where
No,
we're
you.
Right, okay, Erling Haaland.
Mohamed El Neni.
Stop the can. We are fucking
No, come on.
All right,
You'll
okay.
like this next one.
Right, okay. Laporte.
Rob Holden.
Oh, Jesus Christ, it gets worse. Right, okay. Stefan Ortega.
I've rated out the goalkeeper. Fine, Matt Turner.
Turner.
Read next.
Sergio Gomez.
Sambi Lokonga.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Go on, next.
Riyad Mahrez.
Reece Nelson.
I'm sorry, I don't care how bad Mahrez is playing.
Yeah, so
it's Nelson.
I'll take Reece Nelson.
It's Reece Nelson. The man, someone captained him in FPL and got points off of him. I respect it. Right, next, Phil Foden.
Eddie and Katia.
Oh, this is going
last two now for me. I'm on to the last two.
I'm on the last two as well. Cole Palmer.
Kieran Tierney.
Yeah, he's Cole Palmer. They did it. Rico Lewis.
Fabio Vieira. So you can see.
Yeah, they get the two. They get the two at the end because they're two under-23s players for us. They're two senior players at the end for them.
You can see just in that. I've actually gone off the comments to read that, but you can see in essence why we are that kind of level of confident.
And that, by the way, with Cole Palmer and Rico Lewis finalising the bench, that is without Calvin Phillips on the bench. He wasn't there. Kyle Walker, he wasn't there.
Yeah. That's
our
it.
benches are white. Our benches are whitewash. I'm sorry. You can switch those players around. You can put Alvarez on the bench. He's better than Eddie Nketiah. He's better than Jesus. I'm standing by this. Julian Alvarez is a better number 9 than Gabriel Jesus. There's nothing you can tell me to change my mind on this. You can take out Nathan Ake and put in one of Diaz or Laporte. Nathan Ake is still a better centre half than Rob Holding. Like, doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter what you do. You could put Scott Carson in there. He's probably better than Turner. I'll do a watch Turner kick a ball though. Can't comment.
Look, it's 12 o'clock, boys. I'm really, really tired. I've had a good weekend, I think. In my opinion.
No. I haven't said my piece on Chelsea. Come on, let me finish. There's one man I want to talk about only, and that is Raheem Sterling. Fuck you, please. We were talking about blank check. Yeah, blank check, literally 0, nothing. Deserve nothing. You are awful. A waste of my fucking time watching Chelsea play football. They are one of the worst football teams at this current moment in time. Especially after that game, that is one of the worst teams that I have ever watched. Spurs were more entertaining than that, and they played a back 9. Like, Chelsea fans are saying that, you know, the football between Tuchel and Graham Potter, in terms of what they're seeing, isn't really that much different. So why did they sack Tuchel? I don't know either. They never should have sacked Tuchel. They pulled the gun way too early. Like, they never should have done that.
That's the American. The American has gone in there and wanted to stay. As soon as he saw a drop in performance, he said, right, he said, okay, guys, howdy, this is my time to go. This is my time to show who's boss. Yeah, this is my time to show who's boss, man. And then he went and did a sacking.
I mean, the signings, the decision to sign players, I mean, Aubameyang, what was the point? I don't understand. I know that was Tuchel signing, but I don't understand. Yeah, but I mean, I know Reece James is out, but Graham Potter's got Sterling playing as a wing back. Like, I don't understand. Mark Cucurella giving out, what do you say, free hugs. Atrocious.
Free hugs on the line.
Absolutely awful. I mean, I've been a bit of a critic of Sergio Gomez's defending. My word, like, giving out free hugs, unbelievable. Yeah, I think I haven't verified this stat, but I heard a Chelsea fan say it. I'm sure, like a lot of you that watch many different channels, you only watch them really when they lose or when they draw, when they drop points and they're absolutely fuming, because it's great viewing. So I went and I scoured for Chelsea channels.
For Louis Belvendi?
No, I didn't, but I found, I think it's called... it might be called Blues Fans TV. It used to be called Chelsea Fan TV. With Carefree Lewis G, he's on there. He did a fan cam, but essentially they do a player ratings, and the guy on there was like, Azpilicueta's completed more dribbles and take-ons than Raheem Sterling. Successful ones.
There was something. There was something there a couple of weeks ago that said Sterling hasn't completed a take on in this many minutes.
I think he's one for 18, something like that, or he was anyway. That is a winger, a winger who has been labelled as a direct, pacey winger, someone who likes to run with the ball. 1 of 18. I haven't verified these, but these are things that I am hearing from Chelsea fans. The fact that essentially a centre half playing at right wing back who is in his 30s has completed more successful dribbles and take-ons than Raheem Sterling, a winger, fast, direct winger who's supposed to be in his prime, one of, the best players around in his position and world class and worth his 300 grand a week or whatever the fuck Chelsea decided to give him, isn't completing dribbles. Like, again, I said this, I can't remember, I think it was a couple of weeks ago now. There were Chelsea fans calling for Sterling to be dropped for Pulisic. How bad do you have to be dropped for someone who calls the sport soccer? How fucking bad do you have to be playing? There's calls for him not to go to Qatar. There is fucking zero chance of that happening because Southgate loves him. But if we're being real, based on how he's playing football at this moment in time, I don't want to see him kick a ball because, quite frankly, I know you do because you wish on the downfall of my country, but...
It's the right way of putting it.
But, I am glad... having watched him, I'm glad that he's gone and that I don't have to sit through it week in, week out. I know it would be different if he was with us because we tried to warn Chelsea fans, didn't we? We tried to warn them and say, listen, you don't have a number 9. He's going to struggle. He's not going to be good. We know this. We've been sat through it the last 2 seasons.
In fairness, we were very annoyed when he left in the sense of why didn't we keep him? He's going to flourish with a 9. We did say that. We said that there is a good player in there, but by God,
Chelsea was the worst place for him to go.
Yeah, I can pull up the Discord chat today. It happened. Joe was straight away on it. He said that basically what Joe's opinion was is Chelsea don't play with a striker. We saw what he was like for 2 years and we didn't have a striker. Fuck me, it shows. He has been piss poor. And you know what? I'm salivating at it. I am.
And I'm going to have to watch him play for my country in
he's going to have to watch him play.
Couple of weeks. I can't. He's a different player when he plays for England, and I hope that is still the case. Because if he's anything like he's playing right now, then I might just turn off the TV. To be honest, Sterling on, telly off, Sterling off, telly on, that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Here's one for you. D1 asks you, would you take Rashford over Sterling? They're both going. They're both going.
They're both going. But if I had to pick one for the World Cup, yes.
Yeah,
I don't even think Rashford is all that. I know he's good. I don't think he's all that.
He's going through a problem.
He's good. I don't think he's all that. I'd still have him playing over Sterling because he has been much better this season. I'm sorry, Sterling is a waste of time, waste of money. You didn't sign the City shirts. You were a petulant little child saying how fuming you were when you left, and now you're at a happier place, and you're happy to, you're under a manager who wanted you so much, and then that manager got sacked, and now the new one's playing you as a wing back. I hope you are still happy, because let me break this news to you, big man, you are going to be playing on Thursday nights for the foreseeable. Thursday nights, get used to it. Tuesday and Wednesdays, and now your free time. Go and do whatever you want Tuesday, Wednesday nights. You can go and watch all the other big boys battle it out. You can play on Thursday, sunshine. No fucking bother. You could have had it rosy. You could have stayed. You could have signed a little 2-year thing and see how it would have gone over the next couple of years. Fine, you could have done that. No, you decided to jump ship because you wanted guaranteed playing time. And now your career has gone down in the shitter because you decided to leave. Grass isn't always greener, and I just hope that you're still happy with your decision, to be honest. I hope that you are still happy and satisfied that you have made the right decision, because we've made the right decision getting rid of you.
That's for the TikTok anyway.
If you can keep up with the TikTok.
Shut up, right? No, there's a couple of things in tonight's stream video, but by God, yeah, follow the TikTok, by the way. It's the_1894 if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. We'll link it or something. Yeah,
I've had my rant. I'm satisfied now. You know what? I'm satisfied. I've called Sterling shit for the last couple of minutes.
I have
I'm
one
good.
more thing to ask you, actually. Funny enough, I saw something. It's who do you want? But I'm not going to ask you who do you want, because we've had this discussion and it's on the TikTok again. The_1894.
Champions League
Who do
draw
you
tomorrow. I
think?
forgot about it.
Yeah, the Champions League draws tomorrow. Final, your final, would it be predict? Yeah, we'll go final prediction. Who is it? Who are we getting? It's not who do you want, it's who are we getting?
Well, the tweet for the odds was already up, wasn't it? It was like, we're most likely to draw Inter, which suits me. I don't care. Who do I think we'll end up getting? It's written in the stars for us to get Frankfurt or Bruges, isn't it? Because they're the two. No disrespect or anything. I know we always say no disrespect when we slander a team, but you're the weakest two left in the competition. Let's be fair. Like, I mean, we're talking about pot two having Liverpool and Inter and AC Milan, and you know AC Milan, you know Inter Milan, you're Bruges from the Belgian league, you are Frankfurt, who only got in here by virtue of winning the Europa League against Rangers. Like, I think we will get one of those two, because everyone always goes on about how we get easy draws, and as much as I have preached in previous live streams over how I would like, at least in the group stage, to have at least one good team, because I just want to be entertained and want to see how we fare early on in the competition against one of the better teams, I'll take an easy route to the final. I'm okay with playing the easiest route to the final possible. I'm okay with it. I don't care. We're here to win it. We don't have to win it in style.
Yeah. So who's your prediction? Milan?
No. We're not getting one of the big boys. Ferran's going to be on the phone, or fucking Teague's going to be on the phone. Listen, Bruges, yeah? Bruges? Yeah, nice. Sorry.
Brugge?
And then Liverpool are going to get, who was it who topped the group? Was it Sporting? No, Sporting got knocked out. Benfica. Liverpool are going to get Benfica because they're the weakest first seed.
So you're going with Bruges?
Going with Bruges, I think we'll be back. And they'll be back with maybe a bit of a vengeance. Instead of 5-0, it'll be 4-0.
Well, I'm going to go with the outside show here. RB Leipzig. RB Leipzig.
I was going to say I could see it, but then again, I can see all outcomes. It's a fucking draw.
Yeah. Look, there's going to be warm balls in that pot. That sounds mad, but you know what I mean. It's going to be hot balls where you're told what to pick. You're going to be told what to pick. But I think City will come out with RB Leipzig, and when I'm proven right tomorrow, I will lift.
I don't know whether we'll be doing it. I think the big six is tomorrow, so it might be
early. Couple of early ones, so set your alarm, bro.
I don't know. It might be. I'd look out for Tuesday on that one. If I am to guess right here, right now, without word of the boss man, the big man at the top, the Merhawk, Humery. If I'm to guess, with the big six being tomorrow, that when we do Chelsea on the Tuesday, we will discuss the Champions League draw first on that stream. If I'm to guess, it will be a double where we go over the Champions League draw and then get into Chelsea. If I was to guess. So listen, again, turn the notifications on. Turn the notifications on, because you never know. It might be tomorrow. It might turn around and might be in a tomorrow earlier than we normally do. But we will discuss it. It will be talked about. We will talk about the Champions League draw in full. We will be doing stuff.
Yeah, that's it. So turn them on, because we are currently, here's them for you, we're 3 subscribers of 4,300, which is pretty fucking sweet. Yeah, so like it, share it, because you'll see it. You will see us. You will see us posting stuff about the draw. You see us about Chelsea, all that kind of shit.
World Cup as well. Important to have them on for the World Cup, because we don't know.
We
genuinely don't know what we're doing yet, but we will be doing content. We will be making content throughout the World Cup, because we need to keep going. So again, notifications on. Keep a lookout, and you'd probably see more. Maybe more. Well, yeah, more, because we don't actually do them. You might see a couple of actually recorded videos for a change. We haven't done none of those for a while.
A what?
A video.
Yeah, we haven't done a recorded video in fucking ages. I think the last one was a Maris one that I don't think I was on. But
no, you were on, I think. Oh wait, I think you were on.
Look, I know I keep you on, man. It's 12 minutes past 12 here. I'm tired. I don't lie, I'm tired. I kind of want to pop off.
You wrap this up. We've got the we've got this. We've got all the information out. Keep the notifications on for when we eventually talk about that Champions League draw. I'm actually gonna post the Discord in now, because even you know, if you want to talk about it before we do any content about it, you know, we'll probably be discussing it in there.
Well, I will. I'll be awake. I'll have to get ready for college. So I'll be awake.
But if you join that, then you can.
Station time.
If you join that, you can talk to us about the draw, because we won't. There's not a chance in hell that we will be streaming as the draw is live. So if you want to talk to us while it's happening, or just after it's happened, then obviously we'll talk about it there. But we will be discussing it upon this channel.
It starts at 11. The draw will probably be finished around 4 o'clock now. Anyway. Look, again, the sport means a lot. We'll probably be a 4.3k, so we'll give you a thank you next time we see us again. Thanks for watching. You'll see Murray on the Big Six tomorrow night. You'll probably see us back here on Tuesday about 10:30. I'm off work at 9:30, so you'll see me then. Thanks for watching, boys. We love yous. We'll leave yous. It's Sunday. Well, it's technically Monday now. It's 12:15. It's time for bed. But again, keep liking, keep sharing, keep commenting, and listen to the music, man. You know yourself, if you're a long time viewer, you'll know this music is fucking sick, so stay back and listen to it. So go on, look, we'll chat to you later. Wrap her up, Joe, and tell me when.
I'll tell you when. Nice one, Alec. I see your message. I don't think I can read that one out, but I see it.
What?
Listen to your heart. Tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart. Tell me that you understand.